Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. We are tracking 3 areas of low pressure and a giant high. The giant high, smack bang over the top of New Zealand for the next few days ahead. It starts to move away around about Sunday and Monday, and that's when we'll notice more of a significant weather change around the country with rain clouds returning and some windier weather. But otherwise, the high is the main feature. To the north, we've got that developing low, which the Fiji Met Service says has a high chance of forming into a cyclone. We're a little bit more conservative on that, mostly because it has a very short lifespan. So yes, it might form into a cyclone, but it's likely to only be around for a day or so, and it's not tracking directly into any populated areas. It's stuck to the north, and then it might start to drift eastwards, and that's where it's maybe a little bit more likely to form into a cyclone. So it may be named, but to be honest with you, at this stage, does not pose a threat to any sort of significant populated areas. The low that does is this one near Sydney. Now, that is driving in more heavy rain, and it's connected to this easterly flow that's coming over northern New Zealand. That might be a little bit windy across today. It was a little bit over Wednesday evening for northern areas, but that could come back and be quite blustery at times for Thursday and even Friday and Saturday in the very north. And the third low pressure zone, the ex-cyclone, coming in across the western side of Australia, and actually it's quite an interesting system because it's driving in all this cloud, connecting up with another system down here, but a lot of cloud coming in and a lot of rain. There could be 200-300 millimeters of rain falling in a place that normally only gets 100 or 200 millimeters a year, or a couple hundred millimeters a year. So a lot of rain coming through for that. And with all that cloud and rain, it drops the temperatures. And so normally the very hot western side of Australia, massive cool down, more than 8 degrees below average for today and again tomorrow. This is the departure from normal. So those rain clouds really make a cooling difference. You can also see that around Sydney. In New Zealand, it's the southerly change, or that sort of southeasterly coming through for the eastern North Island. Cooler than average there today, but look at the south. Several degrees above average around central Otago. And as we head in towards Friday, most of New Zealand sort of is pretty warm. The very eastern coastal sides of both islands, though, perhaps about average, and that's because you've got your breeze coming off the sea. And the final special map to show you is this one, the three-day rainfall map for New Zealand. I didn't even bother including the key today because you don't need it. The blue that you see in these areas here represents 0.2 to 2 millimeters of rain. So in other words, a shower. And you can see those showers on this map here. This is Friday. So you can see the easterlies up here, bringing in a couple of showers, maybe for Northland, maybe a couple of showers around East Cape, and maybe a shower around Stewart Island. Otherwise, it is completely dry for the next few days ahead. So that's Friday's map. You can see the rain clouds in Sydney, more rain clouds up around Queensland because there's a new area of low pressure forming there. It's not a very deep area of low pressure, and it won't be, we don't expect a repeat of what you've just had, but some more rain is on the way. And then you can also see the ex-cyclone dumping 100 millimeters of rain just in 24 hours across some very dry parts of Western Australia, and also maybe even getting into the Northern Territories as it starts to move in closer towards Alice Springs. So that is Friday. So let's go into the weekend. Saturday sees areas of low pressure up here. That's part of the reason why we're a little bit sort of more skeptical maybe about this tropical cyclone up here, because the energy is just being broken apart at the moment. Now that could still change, and like I say, out at sea doesn't really pose a threat to any main land areas. But that is the low there that we're keeping an eye on. And the high in New Zealand drifts over to the eastern side. That encourages more easterlies at the top of the country, a couple of showers there. And a new area of low pressure starting to form a wee bit around Queensland on Saturday, drives in a wee bit more wet weather. Most of it's out at sea, but it still does come in. Now hopefully it'll be enough to just sort of wash silt away rather than cause rivers to flood, because the rainfall totals on this map on Sunday show anywhere between sort of 10 and 40 millimeters of rain, which is usually below the problematic levels. Now, as we move through into Sunday, we've got more downpours along that eastern side. Sydney gets a return to wet weather, and also a cooler southeasterly blowing through there because of this next high. In the New Zealand area, the storm up here deepens further, but we've got an easterly flow still carrying on, maybe now starting to turn a little bit more northerly in the New Zealand area on the back end of that departing high. So nor'westers in the South Island, northeasterlies maybe up here around the top of the North Island. Now as we go into next week, Monday, so there is the storm out to the east. We don't really have a lot of high pressure over the top of us, but we do have this powerful high just to the south. And so we're in a bit of a vulnerable area here to the north. Vulnerable just meaning the rain clouds have a better chance of maybe moving in. Still raining, still pouring, in fact, around New South Wales and right up to the Queensland border. And down in the south, there is some wet weather on the back end of that high. It's a little bit messy and complicated. Our final map is for Tuesday of next week, and it really shows that storm. That's the one that the Fiji Met Service said could become a cyclone. Now, this far south, it won't be a tropical one, but that's certainly a major storm, but it's well out at sea, away from all the major land masses. Now, it could drive back some swells, which the surfers will like, but apart from that, it doesn't look to really impact New Zealand other than a bit of cloud and maybe adding a few more showers into that easterly flow. I think this is more interesting what's happening out here, because as that high departs next week, there is some rain out here which might move in most likely to the west coast of the South Island. So there is a lot going on. We're back again tomorrow, Friday, with our next update. We'll cover what is going on with these low pressure zones then, covering the weekend forecast and also the outlook for next week. So we'll see you then. Have a great Thursday.